Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm excited to be joined by my friend and business partner, Mr. Michael Vincent, Mr. Podcaster Extraordinaire. I'm sure you've seen him over the years. And we work together on fuel economy improvement, emissions reduction, and plastics waste reduction, recycling, all with monetary gains for companies and individuals. So it's a win-win scenario.
It absolutely is. And that's the name of the game, right? It is commercially viable, economically viable, sound business practices that you can follow that make you greener, but also save you money or make you money, right? Absolutely,
right? That's the name of the game. And that's what we're doing. And it's fun and exciting. And man, we've got a lot of good things going on, honestly. So today we're going to be talking about how to get better fuel economy in a big rig truck. That's our big subject for today.
Yeah.
And you shared an article with me from HMD Trucking, which we're going to be talking about. And, it's all about tips and tricks for getting better fuel economy. But I'll give you one right off the bat. We're getting anywhere from 10% to 30% fuel economy improvement with cyber fuels. And the net savings on fuel is anywhere from 10 to 20% net savings, right?
Net savings.
Net savings.
Net.
Yes. So we're doing this all over the place. We've got study after study. We've got a money back guarantee, at least 10% fuel economy improvement or your money back. So there's your number one. Just do that. We've been doing it. We've got case studies, lab studies, etc. So there's an easy one right there.
So your net savings. So after all the costs of equipment or all or and the product, etc., you're getting your what is average is 20%, right?
So average fuel economy improvement is 20%. So
right.
After the cost of product on the low end, it's 10% net savings.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've got them all the way up into the low 30s, 30%, 30.4. And that is going to get you 20% net savings on your fuel.
Which is, it's amazing. So you can do that, or you can follow these tips, which we're going to talk about from HMD. And there's a great article because they're right on every one of these points. And these are the easy ones to follow. But how easy is it to put a small little piece of equipment on that feeds into your fuel tank that, net savings of almost 20%.
Yep. So take your fuel number, whatever it is, and say, if I could cut this by 10%, what's that number look like? If I could cut it by 20%, what does that number look like? It's pretty awesome. So in my opinion, why not do these things that we're going to talk about and that?
Right. Oh, and by the way, it reduces emissions, does it not? Particulate matter. Is it like 22% or something?
22% proven in a lab. Particulate matter reduction at the combustion engine. So all those truck drivers out there that are tired of DPF issues and DEF sensor issues and DEF nozzles going out because they're spraying DEF all the time. So all those little things tied to the EGRs, we help with that, obviously, right? Less emissions off the engine means less DEF, less DPF filter issues, less maintenance, less repairs as well.
That's important because it's not at the tailpipe. It's at the combustion.
That is right.
It's not worse. That's better.
That's right. Before you ever get to that EGR part after combustion, we're taking care of it at the source.
Exactly. It's important that people who don't understand how that mechanics works, that this isn't it's only at the combustion. No, that's a better thing.
Yes. it's much better thing. Yes.
It's much better. But anyway, HMD. So this is a great article that I sent you, right? So the first one is, and this is something that I was pounded into my head as a kid, cutting lawns, right? When I started cutting lawns for a living and so my parents would let me live there and eat food.
Yep.
But also neighbors' lawns and stuff like that, right? So follow a maintenance schedule, right? I mean, you cut your lawn. Did you have to, I had to, every year change the spark, drain the oils, sharpen the blades, and after every time I cut the grass, I cleaned out all the grass clippings that might be on the undercarriage, right?
Right.
I mean, It's simple. follow the maintenance schedule, take care of your stuff, keep it clean, keep it up to date. You're in great shape, right?
I love, the newer mowers, they have this nozzle where you can put the hose on and you can spray out the water underneath.
On the deck.
Yeah, on the deck.
Put it right into the mower deck. Yeah.
You don't have to flip the mower over and get your screwdriver out and get all the stuff off the bottom, which trust me, I've done that, obviously.
Yeah, no, but if you're not doing that, are you really cleaning your engine? Because you're exactly. That's how I always did it. You had to flip it up and scrape all that stuff off and do that. Of course, if you really had to scrape, then you probably hadn't cleaned it in a number of cuts, right?
I'll be the first to admit it was more like once every 3 months or something.
There you go.
Yeah.
that absolutely can happen. But hey, I still follow to this day, and my push mower is 10 years old, and I'm telling you, I pull it like that fast and it turns. Boom.
Yep. If you do the maintenance like you're supposed to do, a major league difference. Like you said, change the oil, change the spark plugs, make sure it's clean. Sharp blades, obviously, on a mower.
Obviously, you're not going to find almost none of those.
Massive difference.
You find almost none of those on a Class 8 truck, though. But
that's true. No, but changing your oil, obviously, on a recommended cycle, changing your spark plugs, doing the routine preventative maintenance makes a major league difference.
Well, even, the sensors, dude, holy mackerel, keeping that stuff up to date and keeping it, because, you blow a sensor and that's what's ridiculous and drives you crazy sometimes. You got to make sure those are up to date and everything is working properly. The other one is just, your tires, man. I mean, when you start getting into just mechanical stuff, as simple as a few pounds of tire pressure can kill your miles per gallon, right?
That's right. Absolutely. Yep. That's another big one. Tire pressure makes a big difference on fuel economy. No doubt. Anymore in my truck anyway, there's this little thing that goes off. Boop. When if the tire pressure is below a certain amount, right? Okay. And I'm like, thank you. Now my wife's car, she's got a fancier car. Hers, you can just flip over a little screen and see what the tire pressure is any point in time, right? My truck doesn't have that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, now mine in each tire.
Yeah. Each tire, what the pressure is. Yeah.
The annoying part is that in the wintertime here, by the time I get down the end of the street after leaving my garage, my tire pressure will drop by like 3 or 4 pounds because of the cold.
Yep, that is tricky, right? You know what? I've nitrogen. Have you heard about nitrogen in tires?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Right. So it just doesn't expand and contract, I guess, nearly as much. So
no, it doesn't.
Again, with my wife, she's got a fancier car. She's got nitrogen in the tires. So,
well, there you go. She doesn't have to worry about it. But I mean, a truck, you've got to worry about it because, you got road gator season, right? The summer comes along and then all of a sudden you see the road gators all over the road. Tire pressure can make that happen, but it's the heat of the pavement and the heat, especially when you're rolling 18 wheels down the road. You need to make sure that you've adjusted that tire pressure from summer to winter and winter back to summer, because too high is dangerous. Yes. And too low can take a lot of money out of your pocket over, a couple thousand miles a week.
That's right. And I see there's some technologies that have come online around tire pressure measuring and monitoring, which are really interesting. So keeping track of
absolutely. And you've got all these things where you're monitoring the other thing is, right, is monitoring and optimizing the RPMs, right? Which is really, that's the way the driver drives, right?
Yep. Makes a huge difference. Yep.
Yeah. And you got all this new technology now that shows you exactly what you're doing as a driver. Are you braking hard? Are you gassing it hard? What is your shifting like? If you've got one that still shifts, which is becoming rare and rare, but just how you drive and how fast you accelerate is highly, that impacts your miles per gallon greatly. In fact, in my truck, it tells me what my average miles per gallon is all the time, right? I'm sure yours does too, right? Yes. And when you fill it up, it'll say, oh, your range is 383 miles or whatever it is.
That's right.
I got a speeding ticket about a year and a half ago riding with Dooner. Right? From What the Truck, when I was with him on What the Truck.
Right.
And so I just decided I wasn't going to speed anymore, and I started making it a game. Right, I set my speed control, my cruise control, and it's got the adaptive, right? So it's got the radar and it'll slow down so I know to pass people and stuff like that, right? So it's got all that on it, which is not like basic because all I have is like a Tacoma truck. There's absolutely nothing fancy on it at all. But dude, I mean, just when I fill up my truck now, all of a sudden my range has gone up by about 25 miles when I fill up my truck now. It used to be like 383. Now it's like 407 or something like that.
Isn't that fun when you see that? You're like, oh,
yeah,
sweet.
I mean, it takes a long time to do that because I was driving for like a year and a half on it, just like a maniac, and it was at 383. So about a year later, I gained like back about 23 miles to a full gallon of tank, or tank of gas,
Right,
which is pretty cool.
And
pretty
also,
cool.
it's got on the newer trucks and cars, it's got the instantaneous where you're way up in the green zone if you're just cruising at 65. But if you put the hammer down from a stop sign, well, it goes to 0. It's like, no, that's not good, right?
You're absolutely right. And so I try and what I try to do is from a stop sign or a red light is try to get to speed at what I feel is a comfortable pace for myself and for maybe people behind me.
Right.
And still keep my MPGs like above 15. Now I'm in a truck, so 15 is pretty good. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
But yeah, so there's all those games that you can teach yourself how to drive correctly because you can do it. You don't have to go to 0 miles per gallon driving uphill.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. I think idling is another big one, right? Reducing
idling is huge, and sometimes that's hard, right? Because you're sitting there and it's -5, and you're making a delivery in Toledo, Ohio, or something like that, or International Falls or something like that, and you're going to have to do some of that stuff. But when you can reduce it, idling, when the engine's just sitting there idling, and your MPG falls to 0, that's bad.
Right. Yep. When you're sitting somewhere and you're stopped, and your engine is still running, you're getting 0 miles per gallon.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? That's 0. And that 0 means bad. And that's really leads us into the next part that they talk about really is the leveraging the technology, which you talked about and we talked about, is seeing that instantaneous feedback and all that other kind of stuff. Use that. You can use that information back in, and fleet managers can use that to coach their drivers. I know. Keep the freight moving, keep wheels moving, freight on truck. That's the goal. Empty miles, all the other kind of stuff. But listen, man, if you can save even a couple % on a fleet's fuel economy, that's big money on the bottom line.
It is. Absolutely. Yeah. And the cool thing in the recent years, fleet owners, fleet executives are doing incentives for drivers to drive more safely and drive more efficiently. And there's these systems now that help, right? But when you can incentivize it for the driver to drive more safely and more economically, then it's a win-win, right? You're not just pounding on the driver, just be more safe, drive better, You got some measures to use.
Absolutely. We can get into management philosophy and how you can actually make those words not be just jawing at your driver or empty sentiment.
Right.
You need to be able to back it up too. You need to walk that walk, not just talk the talk, and then the next time yell at them for driving too slow. That's not how it works.
Right. Right. Exactly. No, that's not a good thing. Absolutely.
The other one is route optimization software, right?
Yeah. Fleet routing optimization and GPS. Honestly, also, I had 14 years in fleet routing optimization and GPS with Appian Logistics Software, then TMW Systems and Trimble, right?
Well, there you go.
But yeah, reducing road miles by 10 to 20% obviously has a majorly factor on your fuel that you're burning. No doubt.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's when I think back over my career, how many thousands of miles I could have saved had I known that it was, warehouse A instead of warehouse C when I got to the address. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You get to this address, you're like, what? I remember the first time I went to one of our terminals at US Express up in Markham, Illinois. I followed the GPS and got there, and it was the street behind it.
Oh yeah,
It took me like another 5 miles to get to the actual terminal because of the way the roads were and everything.
Oh,
You know how
absolutely.
that works.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
no
it's
doubt.
crazy.
I feel bad for these truck drivers. There's only certain entrances you can go to the truck side of the fueling, right?
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
don't get that right, you might have to go another mile or mile and a half before you can get back around to that side of the building. I mean,
100% right. 100% right. It's crazy. It's crazy. I saw a route optimization study, and it's not all just about the distance. It's about the slope as well. Now, I know that you're driving a truck and stuff like that, and that's a difficult thing to bring into the concept, but I'm just saying it is out there with this optimization software. It needs to consider slope, especially in a city like, Pittsburgh or something like that, where you're
well, we
going
did
up and
that.
down mountains
Honestly,
constantly.
so in California, you got the mountain range right outside
Sure.
of Los Angeles. Okay.
Yeah.
We did this thing with the system that would draw a barrier. You can't get from this stop to that stop going that way. Now you can get there going around that way,
I
but
see.
that going through and we did it in Tennessee and other places as well, Colorado. There's certain areas you just don't want your truck going up a 30% grade. I mean, it's just not good. So,
It's not good at all for anything.
so we had this little trick. We drew a boundary. We had this in the thing in the background. It would take road network and put all the points from A to B, A to C, A to D, A to E, right?
Yeah.
It said there was no way to go from here straight to there. You have to go either this way or up over that way, one something, because they just didn't want the drivers trying to pull up through those mountains that were those passes that were crazy grades. So we had a little way to make it happen, and that was a big part of what we were doing as well. So
Yeah, no, it makes total sense for safety reasons, for, maintenance reasons, hard stop or even runaway truck reasons coming down the other side. But mileage is a huge thing as well. You're obviously just revving the hell out of that engine trying to get up those hills. Right.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yeah. There's companies out in Colorado that have to use a cetane booster because it's heavy haul and it's trees and so forth, and there's just only so many ways you can go. So they have to use it, for those big heavy loads to get up those
Yeah.
mountain hills. Uh, you,
Yeah.
you'd be really in bad
Well,
shape if you didn't have it.
and real quick, those heavy loads appear to be some of the absolute best fuel savings that we've been able to show on some of our tests, right? I mean, aren't those heavier haul type of construction type of things there are the ones that are showing like 32%, right?
Yeah, the one that we have that was averaged 11 trucks with 30.39% fuel economy
Yeah.
improvement was heavy haul building materials.
Yeah.
And of course, going to construction sites with heavy loads. That's the top one that we've got right now. I want to see who can beat it. Who can beat that? Maybe if you're hauling those windmill turbines that are 65 foot long or something. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what the very
Yeah. So it kind of goes from stuff like that to long hauls type of thing. And then the ones that would be least would be like a delivery van, right?
yeah,
Because
like
you're doing a lot of idling and that type of stuff, right? But you're
that's right.
still getting above 10%.
That's right. Yeah, the courier vans that do a lot of stop and go, they just don't run the engine enough to clean it out and have it, running. So that's on the low end. High end is older engines that run heavy loads. Yeah, you're getting really, really good numbers.
Yeah. See, that's really, because I just want to make that clear. Like when you say it's not as great for these guys, not as great is still like, 11%,
Right.
which
Right.
is pretty good.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So thank you, Michael, for sharing this article with me. There's a lot of really good points in here. And be sure, everybody, click on Michael's link below. If you want to cut your fuel spend by 10 to 20% net, click that link. We'll help you get underway and you can save a bunch of money while going greener. That's the name of the game.
Amen. Make it happen. Do it today. If you're from HMD, especially, come on, man. I'm going to talk about you every time until you guys click on my link. But
Absolutely.
it'll all be positive.
That'll do it for our show today. Thanks for listening or watching, everybody, and take care. We will see you again soon.
Peace and love, everybody.